Thank you all for being here today. My name is Skylar Cohen, and I'm a digital content specialist at 42 Gears. My co-presenter is Aminder Singh, a pre-sales engineer here at 42 Gears. Together with 42 Gears engineers and sales teams, we've put together a presentation about how healthcare and education organizations can fulfill the needs of patients and students remotely with the help of 42 Gears, as hundreds of thousands of organizations have changed how they operate during the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll start by looking at the problems that come up for hospitals and schools as they move to new ways of working and communicating during the pandemic. Then, we'll consider how our customers use our software to overcome these challenges, and how you can do so as well. My hope is that by the end of the webinar, you'll know how the tools we offer can keep your organization successful and safe. We will have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar, so please type any questions that you have in the box on your screen, and we will try to get to them all at the end. COVID-19 has hit everyone hard. It has posed an especially big challenge for school and hospital workers, who still need to teach and treat students and patients, respectively. Even when brick and mortar schools are closed down and hospitals locked down to provide focused emergency care, they can't stop providing day-to-day help to the people who depend on them. Schools need students to teleconference in for lessons, assessments, and more. Hospitals need to shift as many appointments to remote consultation as possible, and for many hospitals, that requires providing patients with devices to ensure that everyone has access to help, no matter what technology they have at home. The greatest tool that we have to overcome COVID-19 is technology, remote technology that allows hospitals and schools to keep everyone connected, even when far apart. But unfortunately, this technology isn't always easy to implement. If it were, this crisis would have disrupted life far less than it has for, well, pretty much everyone. There are a couple of major reasons why using technology in schools and hospitals is harder than it looks, especially in a time of a pandemic. Let's review what some of the major problems are. Hospitals and schools worldwide are quickly mobilizing remote technology. This requires them to use tablets and other devices that are intended for general use, and are not necessarily optimized for student and patient-related needs. We call these devices off-the-shelf devices, and fine-tuning the way they work to serve the needs of patients and students is essential. So the challenge is finding a way to quickly obtain, set up, and send out affordable, dedicated purpose devices to patients and students. At the best of times, schools and hospitals can't afford to lose connectivity with their devices. Sending IT teams to fix devices disrupts classroom instruction and doctor-patient interactions, and that's when everyone's working in the facility. When working remotely, it becomes almost impossible to send someone to fix devices, and doing so is uncomfortable and potentially dangerous when IT admins are asked to violate social distancing norms in order to complete repairs. So the challenge is minimizing the rate of device problems, and when they happen, being able to fix them without being physically present. Students and patients are aware of the challenges that professionals experience, and hopefully are willing to tolerate some adjustment and confusion as organizations find ways to adapt to COVID-19. However, devices need to be easy to use, or else users will become confused. The devices also need to only have relevant apps. If devices have lots of games and social media apps, this will impede users' ability to quickly and easily access what they need. So the challenge is providing a clean interface that gives users only what they need. If your organization buys devices to give to students and patients, you become responsible for what happens to those devices. For schools, this means restricting student activity to school-related tasks, rather than games or adult content. For hospitals, this means restricting patients to health-related content and ensuring they cannot access data in ways that violates HIPAA regulations or other national equivalents. But there are still other security concerns. If someone loses a device and they can't find it, malicious actors might be able to access device data. Even short of losing devices, some irresponsible behaviors, like connecting to unsecured Wi-Fi networks, can expose confidential data to malware and other cybersecurity threats. So the challenge is to ensure that device users keep sensitive data safe through safe internet browsing and find ways to prevent worst-case scenarios should device users lose or misuse devices. 42 Gears provides solutions to each of these challenges through its flagship product, SureMDM, which is designed to be a comprehensive management solution. For remote device use, SureMDM's management, lockdown tools, and safe browsing features are especially relevant. Before I cover SureMDM's feature set, I'm going to hand the floor over to Aminder, who's going to perform a brief demo showing you some of the capabilities of the SureMDM Central Console. From there, I'll explain some of those features in more detail and tie them back in to the challenges that healthcare and education organizations face. All right, Aminder, over to you.
Thank you, Skylar. So let's have a quick look on SureMDM demonstration. As you can see my console right now, on the left side here, I have multiple groups. So these groups are really important for management of your devices. So basically you can create a group and apply all your jobs in just one click to all your devices. So creation of group is simple. Just add your group name here. Let's say for schools. I want to create a group for high school. All you need to do is type in and click on OK. So same group will be created. So for now, we have these many groups. And if you want to apply a job to entire group, just use this option, select your job and click on apply. The same configurations will go to all the devices of your group. Then we have a center location. This is called device grid. We show a lot of data points here, like the model of your device, last connected time, and what operating system your device is running on. Not only limited to this, but we do have a drop down where you can select and choose what all parameters or data points you want to see on SureMDM console. We have a huge list of data points here. And then on the right side of the screen, we have a device info panel. So right now I have selected this device. This is operating system of this device. And it also shows if there is any fence job running on this device right now. Then we have a network information, the Wi-Fi SSID, and the signal strength of Wi-Fi. Of course, if it is connected to any mobile signal, it will show you signal strength of that mobile carrier as well. Then on the right side of the screen, we have quick jobs. So let me click there. Yeah, so these are the quick jobs of SureMDM, which means you select a device and click on these jobs. So let's take a remote of one of the device. Basically, this remote support is very useful for troubleshooting of your devices. So if an issue comes up on your device, your user says they are facing the issue, you can log in into your device, do the touch events, and troubleshoot your issues. So if I click on Zoom application, I can see what exactly is going wrong on the Zoom application. And same way, I can connect to the Wi-Fi center. So we give option to connect to a better Wi-Fi so that students or maybe doctors or patients can have a better video conferencing experience. So if I refresh on this, I will see all the available Wi-Fis on my device. So now, how do we whitelist applications on SureMDM? So it's very easy. Select your device, click on SureLock settings, and click on allowed applications here. So let's add Google Classroom as a whitelisted application on our device. So you can search for a classroom application, enable this checkbox, and click on done, click on apply. There you go. So within a fraction of seconds, you will see Google Classroom application as a whitelisted application on your device. So you can use same logic for healthcare workers. They can use their own work applications that can be whitelisted and blacklisted at any point of time. Then on right side, we have our internal storage of device. If you want to download any file from your devices, you do not have to reach devices manually. So you can click on the file and download on your local system. Now, let's talk about whitelisting of URLs. So along with whitelisting of applications, we can use SureFox, which actually whitelists, a lot of URLs. So right now I have 3 whitelisted URLs. All these 3 URLs are for education purpose. So we have a secure browser here. So these are those 3 URLs. Let's click on first URL. Now, as a user on device, I should only be able to access this particular URL. Even if I want to navigate to any unwanted URL, I cannot. So that's how SureFox, keeps your website experience to only limited to whitelisted URLs. So it's a very basic thing. How you can apply SureFox settings is you just have to click on apply button. So now another important feature here is the communication between devices. Using SureMDM, we can basically send messages to our devices. So I have a pre-populated template where you can send some emergency messages. So let's send this file drill template onto our device. Now on my device, this message will automatically pop up, and you can see here, fire alert, please proceed towards nearest exit. And within a notified time, this message will automatically dismiss. So this is how admins can communicate with their users, and this can be useful for both schools and healthcare workers. Another job here is compliance policies. So I have set 2 compliances inside it. One is for online connectivity and second one is for SIM change. So if anyone tries to change a SIM, I should get notified on my email address. Same way it works for online connectivity as well. So if any device goes out of compliance, I get notified on my email address. So that's how you can keep your devices managed and secure at these uncertain timings. Over to you, Skylar.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Raminder. So, as Raminder has just shown you, SureMDM is first and foremost designed to be device management software and a hub for all of your devices, not just mobile devices. This means that you can provide phones, tablets, or laptops to students and patients, or some combination of device types, and be able to monitor and manage each device equally well. As Raminder said, SureMDM can make policies, sets of rules that devices automatically follow to keep data safe. If users violate these policies, for example, violating a security policy that only lets devices connect to secure Wi-Fi networks, SureMDM can automatically lock down or wipe data on the device. This way, you don't have to worry about students and patients complying with best practices. The most important thing is that SureMDM works entirely remotely. There's no need to ever make contact with the device once you set it up. And SureMDM does its best to make setup easy too. When building and evolving SureMDM, our engineers focus on providing functionality at every point in the device lifecycle. With this in mind, SureMDM has a robust set of features for setting up and distributing devices in a hurry, which is the precise situation in which many organizations find themselves. Registering devices to SureMDM is fast because we support zero-touch enrollment on Android and Apple devices. As soon as a device is turned on, it will have the settings you want it to have. Individual manufacturers and operating systems offer their own setup tools, but SureMDM works with all of them at once. You can save dozens of hours setting up devices with SureMDM as compared to individually using the tools provided by each device manufacturer. Once you register devices, you can get them looking exactly the way you want before distributing them to students or patients. As soon as the user turns on the device, you can control what apps and what versions of those apps are running. And the same goes for the operating system. As operating system and app updates come out, you can push them to every device at the same time to ensure consistency. This makes maintenance straightforward for IT teams, because if every device has the same software, then IT knows what it's working with on every device right away. One of the most popular and important features of SureMDM is its central console. You can control everything from a single device, no matter where your admins are. The SureMDM console includes an intuitive dashboard interface, as Aminder showed you, that lets you see a lot of information at a glance. This lets you get a bird's eye view of all devices, but if you need to zoom in to specific devices, you can do that too. You can get data reports on demand and make graphs to show what you find. And as Aminder showed, you can send emergency messages to every device and make sure that device users see them. This is absolutely essential if any COVID-19 risks emerge. For example, if a hospital finds a new COVID-19 risk and needs to alert remote patients to avoid coming to the hospital if at all possible. Because the SureMDM console is intuitive, even non-tech savvy employees can serve as device administrators if necessary. This means that no matter how many people with technological prowess are in an organization, SureMDM is still a good fit and will be able to help them in the time of COVID-19. One of SureMDM's best features is remote control. As the name suggests, remote control lets IT admins view and control devices from the SureMDM central console, as Aminder showed you a few minutes ago. This means that in-person repairs become much less frequent. Your IT team will thank you for speeding up repairs and making social distancing possible. Now let's look at SureMDM's lockdown capabilities, also known as SureLock, which keep productivity high for students and make devices accessible for patients. Locking down a device can mean restricting its functionality to a single app or a couple of apps. In other words, SureMDM will let you make sure that device users only use the apps you want them to use. Users might feel confused if devices showed them icons for non-essential apps that they aren't allowed to access. SureMDM lets you hide unapproved applications and rearrange the device interface to look appealing with fewer apps on display. And as Aminder did a few minutes ago, you can use SureMDM to configure lockdown settings remotely on every device. And you can then send device usage data to the SureMDM console. So you can make sure that users use lockdown devices exactly the way you intend them to be used. If you would like for device users to access the internet, for patients to look up health information, or students to conduct research, you can keep devices safe by asking users to browse with SureMDM's standalone secure web browser, also known as SureFox. This is the key to ensuring that devices and device users comply with HIPAA and equivalent privacy and confidentiality mandates across the healthcare and education industries. The browser gives you complete control over what users can and cannot access. This means you can limit data, you can limit access to a few specific websites, or just block a few specific websites. You can even filter websites by keyword. If a website includes a certain word or phrase that is part of your filter, students and patients won't be able to access it. You can use SureMDM to set up the browser remotely. And as with SureMDM's lockdown tools, the browser can send analytics data to SureMDM, so you can review the data and learn how users interact with the browser. The browser can also help with SureMDM's app and content management. Many organizations find the browser useful for delivering web-based applications securely. All right. So between Aminder and I, we've taken the time to review some of the major problems facing hospitals and schools, and what functionality our family of tools provides. So now let's bring it all together and look at how combining the functionality of our different products has assisted and will assist companies worldwide in helping communities face COVID-19. The first challenge I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation was tailoring off-the-shelf devices to the needs of students and patients. With SureMDM, you can rapidly register dozens or hundreds of devices and secure the user experience further with SureMDM's lockdown and secure browser tools. Lock down devices to display the apps you want to display without games or other distractions, and add your logo to brand devices. You can use the secure browser to ensure the device displays only on-topic content, even when users go online. As I mentioned before, SureMDM's remote control feature lets IT admins fix devices remotely, viewing screens and simulating touch events. Going beyond this, SureMDM even helps to minimize the rate of malfunctions occurring in the first place. IT admins can continually review the SureMDM dashboard for unusual device behavior or problems such as poor battery life, using the dashboard interface that Aminder showed you a few minutes ago. This way, they can conduct preventative maintenance before struggling devices stop functioning. Another challenge I mentioned earlier was providing only what users need and not showing them what they don't need. This is important when establishing expectations for young students and for minimizing the learning curve for seniors. SureMDM's lockdown tools can be extremely helpful in this regard. Let me provide a quick example. Several of 42 Gears customers have recently helped homebound seniors by providing them with tablets featuring the teleconferencing application Zoom. And that's all the devices do. By providing seniors with a single application that suits their needs and disabling buttons and other functionality, our clients eliminate the confusion associated with device use, as the device can only be used in one simple way. When handing a large number of devices to patients and students, ensuring compliance is key, but a daunting task. SureMDM is a big help. SureMDM lets you create policies that restrict devices to specific applications or ways of being used. For example, you can prevent the use of gaming or social networking apps, or restrict access to sensitive information if a device is using a non-secured public Wi-Fi network. Plus, SureMDM can locate, lock down, or wipe lost devices. So if a student or patient loses a device, it won't be a liability. As you can see, hospitals and schools that are transitioning to remote structures have a variety of needs and concerns. And SureMDM by 42 Gears strives to help these companies succeed at an affordable price. Thank you so much for submitting questions. I'll take a few minutes to wait for more questions to come in. All right, so let's get started with questions, and feel free to add any more as we go through the ones that we have. So Aminder is our product expert, so I'll be reading the questions that you've asked aloud, and then Aminder will be answering them. So Aminder, we have a question about bring your own device policies. Does SureMDM work with bring your own device?
That's a great question. So yes, SureMDM supports BYOD. If someone is using a personal device for work, SureMDM can create a secure container on the device and store business data there. It's a great way to secure devices while respecting users' privacy.
Great. And so one other question that we got mentions that it asks, you mentioned that SureMDM applies to all of our devices, not mobile devices. What exactly does that mean? So Aminder, if you could elaborate.
Sure. So yeah, basically SureMDM can remotely manage pretty much any device you have at work, including computers, VR helmets, and VR OS-based smartwatches. If you are interested in sending VR devices home to patients who needs physical therapy or smartwatches to patients who need some kind of mental or health monitoring, you can ensure that the devices are secure and users can only open the applications you would like them to use.
Okay, another question that we have asks, you mostly talked about remote patients, but hospitals have a ton of workers on the front lines who also need their devices managed. How can SureMDM help them?
All right, so SureMDM console has a lot of functionalities that is helpful for hospital workers and administrators. For example, SureMDM can send messages to devices at any time and ensure that recipients read them. The ability to push app updates is also essential, as keeping every device equipped with most up-to-date tools available is best practice for any medical institutions. So SureMDM can be used both for frontline workers and remote workers.
Great. So we have another question that asks, can you share some more insight on education or any other case studies relating to the education industry?
Sure. So we have been working with a lot of schools where they are providing the tabs to the students, and all those tabs are securely locked down with SureLock with only Zoom application. Some of those schools are using Google Classroom application basically. And we have locked down those devices, and then they have basically created a recurring URLs from Zoom application so that students can directly click on those links and attend their classes. So that's how we have managed those devices into multiple schools.
Great, thanks so much, Minder. And then another question that we have asks, how would you restrict access to inappropriate websites like pornography with 42 gears?
All right. So SureFox, which is a kiosk URL, whitelisting of URLs can be done using that. So it comes with two options. So first option is you can only whitelist educational URLs or the required URLs. Second option is you can add the keywords that it should be blocking only those websites which contains these keywords. It can be weapon or any explicit content. So you can do that. You can keep the browser open and then still restrict it for all these unwanted websites.
All right, and then the last question that we have asks, what distinguishes 42 Gears from other comparable partners in the education sector?
Right. So as you have already seen, we have very user-friendly SureMDM console. So we do not need a very tech-savvy person to access and be an admin for all the devices. So first thing I would say is ease of access. Then of course our support. So that is available 24/7. So if you have any issues, even on weekends or maybe late night, if you are IT admin, and it becomes really difficult if you do not get the help from the MDM provider. So our support is very well equipped with all the answers that you would need at any point of time. So these two things I would definitely say that are the I would say are best among others.
All right, and then we have one additional question, which asks, how do you troubleshoot devices with remote access? So maybe if you could provide a few more details. I know you provided the demo, Minder, but if you could just run through it again, it would just kind of in words, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question once again?
Of course, just if you could describe how remote access works for troubleshooting, or how exactly you can help troubleshoot devices with remote control.
Sure. So we have seen in past that some of the applications, they start behaving weird or something goes wrong on the devices. So basically you can actually take a remote of the device, and we have special permissions that we get from the signing from the OEMs of the devices. Using that permissions, we can actually do the touch events on the devices. All you need to do is take a remote of the device and tell your user to wait for maybe 5 or 10 minutes so that you can do your troubleshooting. And then you can actually access your device using remote support. If that is not enough, we have a run script job where you can push multiple run scripts. It can be ADB shell commands, or it can be any other normal commands that you can push to your devices to fix your problems. So that's how the troubleshooting becomes really easy when devices are in remote.
Great, thanks so much, Raminder. So it seems like we have a follow-up, but it looks like we've just about reached the end of our time. So we will follow up promptly with any remaining questions after the webinar. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending. And if you'd like more information or you have any questions, please send an email to sales@42gears.com. And if you have any outstanding questions from the question and answer session, we will answer those as soon as we can. Also, feel free to visit 42gears.com to learn more about our products and the ways in which we can help you face the issues that face everyone today. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.